Right.
How are you? I'm not going to forget you.
All right, it is 6:30, and that's fine. We're getting mics done, but I like to start right on time. So I want to welcome everybody to, that's fine. I want to welcome everybody for our work session for Monday, October 5th, 2020. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. It is now 6:30, like I said. I'm going to go ahead and get started with a committee/department report, starting with planning and development. Chairman Lisa Newberry.
Thank you, Mayor. Tim Prater, Director of Planning and Development, is going to come up and present the two cases for tonight.
Mayor and Council, the first case we have on the agenda is 20-008. The applicant is Karen Woolery. The property owner is Karen Woolery. Map and parcel number is LG100141. The present zoning is R16. The current zoning, or the requested zoning, is O&I. The address is 335 Bay Creek Road. It's 0.34 acres, and the purpose of the rezone is for office space. And I do not see the applicant here.
Do we have a map of where this is to show?
It's right across the street.
We do not have a map to go up on the screen. I think Kyle could pull it up on Google Earth. It's the fourth house past Mockingbird. Yes.
Now, Tim, what type of place is it going to be? An office? Is that correct? Is that what they want to do?
Yeah, she does home health care, but she just dispatches the nurses out of her office. I think she said she would have like 3 employees that would be on location.
So she's not going to have no patients there?
No,
Just
it would just be office.
Just office.
Yes.
And it's going to be from Monday through Friday type business? Or
Yeah, she said her office hours were Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
8 to 5? Okay.
Yes.
So does she live there?
No, it would just be, she bought the property to run this business out of, but she didn't know, this is what she said at the planning commission meeting. She didn't know that she would have to have it rezoned to run the office out of that house.
What did her neighbors say about it?
We really didn't have any opposition at the
There's 2
planning
here.
commission meeting.
Came with Mayor. Do you want to call him?
We got 3 here.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. What did the planning commission say?
The planning commission's recommendation was to deny it because it shows residential
Yeah.
on our future land use map.
Yeah, it's like house. And then you
Yes.
put it, okay. Why don't you call him folks up?
Well, do we have any questions from
Yeah.
here first?
I don't have any more questions. Does anyone else?
I probably will have some follow-ups. I'd like to hear from the people in the
Okay.
audience.
Yeah. Do we have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak?
Just come to
Yes,
the
ma'am.
microphone, state your name.
Man, we need you to come up to the microphone because we're doing the YouTube, and they got to hear you at home.
There got one back there now.
I live next door to that property, and that's a residential section. I don't think it should be for office or interest or whatever she's wanting to put there.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else?
I'm coming. Had to get a wipe, so I don't get yelled at.
Don't blame you. All right, thank you. I live directly across the street at Mockingbird Hill, and I'm representing not only myself, but I guess I've been drafted for the board of directors for the Homeowners Association. Nobody else wanted it, so I'm going to be there. I don't really have a problem with the office being there, but some of you may know there was a gypsy car lot there to the next property owner this summer. The guy had 4, 5, 6 cars for sale. So I'm hoping that this is not going to be a business area, and it'll strictly be residential. That's what I'm hoping for. Again, I don't really object to this one, but I don't want to see that whole area converted.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any other questions?
My concern, if it doesn't work for her and she cannot make that go and you zone it for business, then couldn't you bring anything you wanted to in there, a beauty shop? Anything you wanted, you might even bring a bar. We got that in Loganville now. It's not in the residential section, but people do live across the street from it. And I really feel sorry for people that live across the street from a bar. And I just think it's just this residential section. And I know there's a business on the corner there, and I know that the 55 and older was built there and everything, but that was there before the 55 and older was built. So that's my concern.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else? Okay, so I guess we will vote on Thursday night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay, did you have something you want to say on that?
Oh, no.
Okay. Moving forward. Next item we have is case V20-009. The applicant is Builders Professional Group. The property owner is Builders Professional Group. Map and parcel number is R5161-006. Present zoning is R22 overlay. The acreage is 26 acres. The address is 2561 Loganville Highway. The applicant is asking for relief for the reduction of lot width from 75 feet to 70 feet. And I don't see that applicant here either. At the Planning Commission meeting, he spoke that when this property was rezoned, that he had put a proposed site plan in with the rezone that showed 70-foot wide lots, and he thought that was approved with the rezone. And then when we brought it to his attention that it wasn't, then he applied for the variance.
Did both applicants know there was a meeting tonight?
Yeah, that's,
Yes, we told them at the Planning
Okay.
Commission meeting, they were meetings tonight.
Okay,
yeah, this is it's becoming a habit, because last month we had the other, and they weren't here. And I understand why they weren't here, because I think he was out of town.
Mhm.
But, you know, Chairman, can we do something that if they're not here, we just, because, I would like to talk to these folks. I mean, Tim's doing a good job explaining.
I mean, they
answering
were
the questions.
they were all given dates of the meeting, and we told them at the Planning Commission meeting they needed to attend the work session and the council meeting, and gave them the dates for both.
I mean, to answer your question, there's always something we can do. I don't know what we do now. Do we send them a letter, a follow-up letter, or?
That would be a Robin question.
We vote.
I was actually just looking at the variance provisions for this. He's asking for a major variance
Yes,
to reduce the lot width.
yes.
What's your opinion on that?
It's not out of the ordinary. It's been asked for and approved before. It's not reducing the lot size.
That's what I was getting.
It's just reducing the lot width. They all still exceed the minimum lot square footage.
All right, thank you. That was a good pop quiz for you, Mr. Prater.
So, Tim, it's not
Well,
for them to build more houses, right?
Ma'am?
It's not for them to build more houses.
No, it's the same amount of houses. He just thought when he submitted the application for the rezone and submitted the proposed site plan that that the site plan was getting approved with the rezone, and it wasn't.
Tim, if I remember correctly I watched the zoning meeting, and he said the houses in here would be in the 350 range. I think that's
Yeah,
what he said. So
I don't know.
it won't be huh? Yes, y'all did. Yes. Right.
Well, did the planning commission recommend approval of the variance?
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
So I think one of you wanted to know if you could, what you can do when people don't show up for this. Is that right?
I do. I like to hear their story and explain why they want to do this.
Are they told that attendance is mandatory? I don't believe they are because I don't
No,
think
it's
that's
not.
in the ordinance.
Yeah.
I think the most you can do is encourage them to come because, to your point, I mean, they need to come and kind of present their case to you and be ready to answer questions. If they're not here to do that, I think it harms them because maybe you don't get the information that you need. But there's nothing in the ordinance that requires them to attend.
Can we table this thing until they show up, Chairwoman?
I think we can do whatever the council wants to do. I mean, I think that I would think we need to follow up with them with an email with the letter attached, making sure they know, or making sure that we made sure they know that there's a council meeting following the commission meeting.
Well, I mean, they were told 3 times, and there's a sign on their property giving the dates. So,
Okay.
I think the gentleman that spoke has retired. He's the one that developed the one across the street, or is developing the one across the street. And he has retired and moved to Florida. According to the planning commission meeting, he came up here especially for that. And then maybe he got the impression that since the planning commission said that they approved it.
no, he was specifically told at the planning commission meeting that they needed to be here tonight.
Okay.
That's the last thing we did then, before we close.
Okay.
Before we adjourn, we tell them that they have to, if they have to, if it's approved by the city council.
And
I don't know why he's not here.
I believe your advertisements also list the city council meetings in addition to the planning commission meetings,
Yes.
right? So they know at the outset what the dates are when they're supposed to appear.
So, and I listened to the commission meeting as well, and the couple things that I was wondering, Tim, is I know he said, okay, well, the length, yes, the width was smaller, but the depth of it was larger, so there's not a reduction in area. The area matched. But what I was fuzzy on, one thing is how many actual homes are actually being placed on that 26 acres?
63.
63. So that's 2.42 per acre, which is higher than the I know this was adopted before the change to R22 overlay, correct?
Their plans
density?
were submitted before the change.
Right. So
Yes. So they
we were
fall
at
under the
2.68.
7,500.
right.
Yes.
Okay. So they're still higher than what the current overlay is.
Then the current, yes, but not the previous that they would fall under.
The other-
Because it was 2.8.
The other thing that has a concern on my part is that he was saying the way the lot was graded, that he couldn't widen out the lots down lower because of his drainage.
Well, if this is not approved, he'll widen the lots.
Okay. Well, so that's kind of why he should be here, because my feeling is, either you drop, you're talking about however many lots there's 60 lots. You probably need to drop 4 lots in order to get that width back, or you got to go down,
Right.
And what are we going to get for those 4 or 5 lots that we're missing? So I'm not
Well,
real comfortable with that.
with the site plan that he submitted and with their development plans, it shows the 63 lots and 25% green space that they're required to have under the overlay. So they're not asking to add any. If this is not approved, they're probably going to have to decrease from the 63 because they're going to have the wider lots.
And so their plan right now is just resting with you to approve their plan. Is that right?
Their development plan?
Right.
The development plan has already been approved, but that's only grading and putting in infrastructure.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So once they start, once all the infrastructure's in, then they'll submit a final plat, and that's where it shows the division of the individual lots.
So did you get your question answered about how do they know when they're supposed to be here?
Well, I mean, I just think that, I mean, for the lady that's trying to build that, I mean, I've got questions for her that I can't get an answer to, and Tim's doing a good job, answering my questions, but she needs to be present, and I just feel comfortable voting either way without her being here and answering some of the questions that we all have. So
Would y'all like to table both cases?
I believe we should. I
Bill?
really do. But
I would say,
I mean,
I personally don't have a problem with the first one.
I do.
I don't think that's needed in. Huh?
you say I don't have a problem with that, means you kind of.
No, I don't. No, I would say no on it.
right.
Yes. Right.
I agree. I think table the second one and vote on the first one.
Okay. Table the second one.
I
We're not
support
going
it.
to change our
I
mind.
mean, I don't think I support the second one at this point. So,
So is that a table or no table?
Table's not going to hurt anything. Sorry.
I mean, to me, just shows president, we're taking this job seriously, and, whether we agree with it or not, the lady or the person needs to be here so we could hear them.
Over each,
So we can make,
over either case.
so what's that?
Over either case.
On both
Well,
cases,
yes.
they're both not here. And whether we agree with it or not, we need to hear the case to make a informed,
but we have to hear it
Vote.
twice.
what's that?
We have to hear it twice. So if they come Thursday, we've heard it once.
Well, no, if they come Thursday, we're good. We're
So we
good.
don't take, we'll decide to table it then.
But we're-
Yeah, you can't vote to table it
can't-
until Thursday anyway.
Exactly. If they're not here Thursday, then I think we should table it because they're not even here to answer our questions.
That is certainly your prerogative as the council, but one thing I will say is that Monday night is the work session. That's
That's
when
right.
the questions and answers are supposed to happen. You could make an exception to that and let whoever it is speak on Monday night. But I don't know if these
Table it.
individuals will be able to come again on Thursday.
Chairwoman, Jay brought up, just table it for next month.
Okay, well, and to Robin's point, I don't want to set a precedent that if someone doesn't show up, they'll just come to the council meeting and not have to come to the work sessions.
Yeah, and then if you have neighborhood people that come and speak for or against, I mean, do they then have to come back on Thursday to reiterate what they say? I mean, maybe they would want to respond to a point made by
Oh.
There he is.
the applicant.
Welcome.
There he is. Long way apart.
So,
Wasn't he in here before?
Yes.
That's the guy. Down by my house? Yeah, that's him. Oh, okay.
all right, you're late. But going back
I was
to
going to
that,
light you on fire.
you want to just, well, he's here, he's in the second case.
He's a nice guy.
Okay.
He's nice.
Now that we're here to listen to him, would you like to table the first case? Because she's not
No.
here.
On Thursday.
On Thursday. I'm just recommending right
Sure.
now. Of course, we're not tabling. Okay.
The applicant is here if y'all have any questions.
We've been talking about you for 10 minutes. Wait, sorry. Are we going to table the first case?
What is what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Do you want to table or not?
You can't vote on it until
You can't
I
Thursday.
understand that,
That's right.
but I'm being asked the question here, so
Vote on it, bro.
we'll take a vote on Thursday night whether or not to table.
Absolutely. You don't want to I see.
I think we just vote on it on the first one.
Okay.
Let's vote on it.
All right, sure.
Yeah or nay, Thursday night.
Well, talk about it Thursday night.
Okay, sorry, Ray.
Go ahead, sir.
I mean, we had 3 people show up to talk about it.
Who's going?
My name is Doug Patton. I want to apologize for my tardiness. Coming from Marietta to Loganville at 5 o'clock, sometimes you cannot predict the traffic. I mispredicted it tonight. I apologize for that. I'm here because a year ago, we presented this case and got voted to have this property developed. And in the presentation, I must have made an error or made an assumption that was incorrect. This is the tract of land that's right up here on corner of Brand Road and Lawrenceville Highway. And in our presentation to the council, we presented this as a 70-foot wide lot instead of a 75-foot wide lot. And this is the document and the same board that I presented that night. And we had written on there that we were requesting a variance for the lots to be 70-foot wide. Now, we were not requesting the lots to be any smaller in size, or we were not requesting anything that was going to increase our density. Because of the configuration and the floodplain and the creek behind us, we were simply trying to make them, and the size home we were putting on there, we were making them 70-foot wide and adding that to the length of the lot itself. So we were not requesting a change in lot size. But in our documentation that I presented, I put on there that we were making that variance request, and we were approved by council, and the project went on, and my company, as Centerline Surveying and Land Planning, designed the entire subdivision with the assumption, because in other counties we work in, when you put it on a document like that and the council votes on it, it's to the plan, and you're stuck with whatever you wrote on there. You better be right. We found out the hard way that's not the case in Loganville, that the zoning stipulations and the UDC required it to be 75, and our assumption was incorrect. We developed the entire set of plans based on that original approval and brought them in through staff, and it went through plan review process. And at that time, it was discovered by Tim that the lots were 70 instead of 75. So we immediately said, well, what's our next step? And it was to clarify that with you and apply for a variance for the 70-foot wide that we'd assumed we had received a year ago. I can answer any question you want. It's not going to change the, like I said, it's not changing anything else in the UDC. It's just that one stipulation that we had thought we had cleared up at that time.
How many houses, as it's currently designed, will there be?
63.
63, okay.
So if you were to modify it to go to the 75-foot width, how would you go about doing that?
We would eat into the green space a little bit more, grade a little bit more into the buffer, into the impervious setback. We have green space. I don't know if you can see it from there, but we had created green space access through the middle of the site, because this is this development is meant to target the, I don't want to say age restricted, but age targeted market. And so interparcel access is important. Walkability is important in these. I've developed probably 1,400 of them. And we would have to take away some of this interparcel access to create the width of the lots. It really wouldn't hurt the development to do it, except for the fact that we'd have to take the plans back through Tim, and we would lose some open space in the process. So the lot yield really wouldn't change. It would just change the walkability through it, through the track.
So did I hear you say at one time that the price of these homes was like $350 maybe?
Low to mid threes, yes, sir.
Yep.
Do you know anything about the pre-sales? Anything about pre-sales over there?
Well, I know I developed the piece across the street and this piece was developed because of the interest in the one across the street. The one across the street is age targeted as well. It's not restricted though, is it? Just age? It is restricted. This one isn't. These are both age restricted. Yeah, okay, they are age restricted. I'm sorry, I misspoke. They're age restricted, of which our intent is to bring less impact to the school system and more slab lots, master on the main, those type things that work for people. Like me, I turned 65.
You're saying this neighborhood is, the one you're talking about is age restricted?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I remember specifically asking that night, and the answer was it's not going to be restricted, but like you're saying, targeted. Everything would be built for that.
I actually thought it was age targeted too, but Tim has corrected me, and I always believe in Tim.
So is the age 55 and up? Or?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Are you concerned with the traffic on that street, which tends to get worse every day?
We have gone through a large design with the Georgia DOT. Because of the location of the two projects we've had, we've married those two projects with the design as far as left turn lane, accel, decel, those type things to make it as cooperative with both projects going as we can. These are two different developers, but because I'm the common factor, we didn't go in there and just design one and then design the other and let those be problems with each other in the future. We actually got with the DOT and got the entrances to coincide with each other to make sure the traffic movement was better. It was a good bit of permitting to get that through and get the two developers to cooperate for sure.
Any chance of a light going up?
Sir?
Traffic light? Any chance of a traffic
No
light?
traffic light. No, they won't allow us to put one in.
The development that's going there across the street, you designed. The development across 20 you designed. Is
Yes.
it same format?
Same format.
Same lot widths?
The ones on the other side, there was a different configuration lot, and we were able to keep those at 75.
So I guess where I'm still stuck at is you said if you expanded the lot size, you would cut into the common areas in the green space.
Yes.
So I don't know to what extent. I mean, you said you're 25% green. What's that reduce it to, and how does that fit with our requirements, Tim?
It would be 50 feet total I'd have to make up in there, of which means the green space access would be taken up. As far as the percentage, I might want to note that the lots that back up to Lawrenceville Highway are 75 foot wide. The ones that we're referring to are the interior and the ones that back up to the creeks that are on this property and the open space. So it's not all the lots that would be reduced. But Tim, go ahead.
They're required by ordinance to have 25% green space, but because they decided to make the piece of property that was going out to Brand Road additional green space, then they exceed the 25%, but they're required to have 25% minimum.
How quickly do you think you'll start building?
They're building now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're developing now. The dirt's turned, and they're developing it as we speak.
All right. Any questions from the audience? All right.
Okay, everybody good? And that's all we have tonight.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for letting me squeeze in under the line there. Yeah, it's, well, as you can tell, since they're under development, it's pretty important that I came up and present.
Very important.
And one thing I didn't mention is that I retired 3 months ago.
Okay.
And so I just came over here to do this because I was the one that presented in the first place.
Do you
And
move to Florida?
I'm back and forth. I've got a place in Florida that we're moving to, but my wife's going through some medical. She has to stay here through her treatments.
Are we going to require him to come back Thursday night?
You good with that, Bill?
You okay with that, Bill?
Sure.
I don't see the need,
I don't need it.
but you're welcome to.
Well, I'm just staying at someone's house until I do. So I'll I appreciate that. If I don't have to be here, I'd appreciate that because it's just a drive over just to come and see you good folks. And I've actually retired, and this is just dotting I's and crossing T's.
Yeah, Thursday night's just the vote, and you're welcome to watch on YouTube.
Okay.
Yep.
Am
Thank you.
I going to regret not being here then?
No.
You would have regretted not coming tonight.
I remember last time I was here, I walked in the door and this whole place was full, and I said, I'm not sure if I'm the deer, and it's the day before, the day after deer season.
All right.
Thank you much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Chairwoman Lisa Newberry. Coming down to Finance and Economic Development, Chairwoman Ann Hunsinger. She's not here, but Danny? All right.
Where's she at? Where's she at?
No, I don't want to sit in the hot seat. I sit right here just fine, or stand here.
Yeah, you don't want to sit in your seats. Let draw fire.
Okay, so the first one, most of these are they're within my limit. They are contracts. First one is Comfort Systems, which is an agreement for this facility for the HVAC. It's an annual contract, budgeted item. And I would ask most of these for consent. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Consent bill?
Kyle, anything else you need to add to that? Because Kyle oversees
Good.
this one.
All right. It will be in the consent. Right, Linda? All right. Consent. Yes, sir.
She has a question.
Oh, you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Robbie.
I can't. Can we? How many? What's the question?
The question is how many units are they going to build on Highway 20?
Planning and zoning. Okay.
63?
I was just going to say, how many is it they're going to build on 20?
So on both sides of Highway 20, ma'am, it's 63 on one side, 65 on the other side.
Well, what are they going to do about the road being two-lane? Just as you pass the red light.
Yeah, that was one of the comments that
I
Councilman
mean,
Bowen
that's
asked.
going to
but-
be chaos.
Yeah, they tried to get with GDOT to get a red light, but they've denied it. There is plans to widen Highway 20 under GDOT's
What
plan.
price of house is he building over there?
Excuse me?
What price of 55? Is it 55 and
I
older?
believe he said low threes.
Oh, yeah, low freeze. Are they going to have to all pay taxes? Are they in the city?
Yes, yeah, they will be in the city. Yes, ma'am.
So they have to pay city taxes?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I just don't know how many more they're going to put on 20, because it's chaos now.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, the next item, did I get to make a motion too?
No.
The second item is Walton Press invoice. This is for the magazine print. This is also within my limit, but it's still contract, so ask for consent for 6160.
Consent? All right. Consent. Yes.
The next one are for the festival that we're having. Roadhouse Atlanta is a concert that will be playing, and the other one is the clown that will do face painting for the kids, I believe. Is that correct, Robbie? The clown, is that for the face painting? Oh, this one out front here. So those are all contracts and still within my limit. So I'd ask for consent as well.
Consent? Consent. Yes, sir.
All right. The second one has been an ongoing issue with a lot of the citizens have talked about, having dual meetings at the same time. Planning and zoning, I believe, meets on a third Thursday, and also the Development Authority meets. I know Fourth Thursday, I'm sorry, thank you. So I reached out to the chairman of the LDA, Skip Lyles, and asked him whether he be willing to change his dates on a non-meeting for another city and to use this building. And I reached out to Chairwoman Ann and asked her if she was okay with it. She said put it on the agenda to come before y'all. But I would just ask that, they would be allowed to use this chambers on a non-meeting night for any other boards or commissions at Loganville. That way, if the public wants to attend all the meetings, they can. They don't have to pick and choose.
Are the majority of the members in favor of that?
That's something that Chairman Lyles will reach out and find his committee. We can't approve it for him, but first step is to get y'all's approval before I go forward with him and telling him you're okay with it.
I think they would like to meet here.
I'm fine.
You too?
That's the decision that would be up to that board.
Bill, what do you think?
I'm fine with that. I think it's good.
All right, consent.
Don't let Skip sit in your chair.
Huh?
Don't let Skip sit in your chair because you'll get some ideas.
No, that's right. I have to change that. All right, but it seems it's consent, right? You're okay? Yeah, consent.
Okay. I'll let him know Thursday once y'all vote.
All right.
The next one is a budget amendment and also a contract. Mayor, we've been working on this for quite some time. This was finalized several weeks ago with the Chairwoman Ash from Gwinnett County. This is for the CARES Act funding. As you know, Gwinnett County received direct funding from the U.S. Treasury Department, where all the other 600 municipalities and counties in the state of Georgia got funding from the state. Gwinnett was one of 4 counties that got direct funding, and they have allotted us a set amount of $325,207, which we will use the proceed or use payroll from public safety, police, and fire, and ask for reimbursement. But there is an agreement that you had to sign, an IGA that Robin has looked at. It's the same agreement, Mayor, as you know, that most of the cities have used that I believe Suwannee came up with, City of Suwannee. So I would ask for y'all to also put that on.
Danny, the comment I got is that number is based on our population.
That is correct.
For the Gwinnett side.
Oh, that's my question. 3,000. Yeah. It says 3,059. I wondered about that too. So there's 3,000 people in the Gwinnett side of Loganville.
Yeah, it was always historically around 2705 to be exact, I believe, from the SLOST, but they did increase it when they reevaluated this.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, Bill, consent?
Sure. This is not a guarantee. This is what we could get if they approve it. So I just want to make sure. But if we do get it, which we have plenty of payroll to cover that amount, just to make sure you know that whatever amount we get, that it doesn't exceed that for the budget amendment that Natalie would have to make.
Exactly. All right. That'll be under consent.
Yep.
All right.
And that's all she has.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Public Safety Committee, Chairman Jay Boyd.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll have an update from Tim and Mike for Thursday. Just a general update on how police and fire are doing. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Public Utilities / Transportation, Chairman Bill Duvall.
All righty. So I'm glad Danny's standing up there because he showed me drawings of Twin Lakes, what he wants to do in there. Tom Brewer. Danny, you want to kind of explain what's going on?
Yeah, Brandon, why don't you come up here and we'll tag team this one. Give you some little experience. Maybe you can get talk to a little bit this time instead of me.
Hey, Brandon.
I'm going to let you do the second one. The first one I know a little bit about. The second one I'm going to let you talk about because I'm not sure of that one. So the first one's the Twin Lake Pump Station. This is where we get most of our water from Walton County. It's where we get all of our water from Walton County, to be exact. The current line comes up under Highway 78 and loops back near Loganville Ford, goes back to the pump station. Chris Yancey and Brandon have been working on this for quite some time. And we would like now, there's a line at Tom Brewer Road. It's directly across from pump station. We'd have to make a 190-degree turn, come into the pump station with a 10-inch water line that will give us a little bit more flow because there's a lot less kinks in it as it currently is. So this will come out of capital recovery money, which is the money that developers pay when they build within the city. So we have some money in that account that we can use, but it can only be used for infrastructure improvements. It's very set on what it can be used for. It has to be used for new construction or new installation of infrastructure, water line, sewer line, wastewater, and stormwater. So I thought it was a good project to go ahead and use this money. You have the packet in your what the cost came in at the engineer cost of material. Work will be done in-house. So hopefully we will not exceed that amount. But as we have learned in the past, it's a project. Anytime you're digging in the ground, you never know what you're going to hit. So, but the work will be done by staff, and it will be done sooner rather than later. And Brandon will take any of your questions.
In this also, you were talking about coming down 81 there in front of Maxi Price. That's a later installation, or
That's something we'll come back for you in a later date. Hopefully, we'll stay within my limit. You know, when we signed the IGA with Walton County to take over the 27 water customers that we're still working on with them, there will be some lines that we need to move over from Walton County to the city lines. They think some are copper, some are galvanized. We don't know until we start digging because, quite honestly, the county is not sure because it's such an old line. It's an asbestos line that's there. It goes from a 6-inch to a 10-inch, back to a 6, back to a 10, back to a 6. So we felt it's just best to go ahead and move all those services to our water line, and the county would cap off that line at Maxi Price and cap it off somewhere near Terra. But there will be a price later, but we don't, at this moment, we don't know what that would be.
Sure.
So how does this work? Does that run down the middle of the road, or is it on the side of the road? Does it go through people's yards?
It's in the right of way.
Which is
on the side of the road.
Yeah, on the Highway 78 corridor, it runs along Highway 78 from Loganville Forward to Maxi Price, and then it's the same on 81. It runs from Maxi Price to Terra on that same side of the road. So we'll be able to convert those customers over to our line on 81, which we'll be able to do all that in-house. And then on the Highway 78 corridor, we'll be able to utilize that 10-inch main if you approve these materials for our water department to install that new feed to our booster station. We'll be able to convert those customers as well over to our system. We're just trying to clean up the service territory to where any Walton County mains or customers are no longer within the city.
And when do we start and when does it finish?
We have 120 days from the time the IGA is signed.
We're still working on signing.
Yeah, it hasn't been signed yet.
This is a very complex transition. So hopefully we have it all worked out. But when you're dealing with lines that have been in the ground since I think it came through in the early 80s, that water line did, we can only tell us what the books tell us. So I'm going to leave that caveat for you all that until we get into the ground, we don't know. So, but we expect from what we've been told from Walton County and what the guys that have been working here a long time tell us is it should be a smooth transition, but we just don't know. But the biggest thing is, and this has happened more than once, is a water main break, and you got two mains side by side, and you may have a fairly new employee. He may dig up the first line and says, "Oh, this is ours," and it turns out to be the other one's. That's happened more than once. So getting both of these lines will clear up any confusion. Like having two wives, you get confused.
Any other questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? You want to consent? Consent? Sure.
Yeah.
Consent? Item will be in consent, Brandon. Thank you. Anything else?
Oh, second thing,
You can talk about it second one.
Brandon.
Mayor, Council, the cartograph is formerly SIMS work order system. It's an annual renewal of the license for us to be able to use that work order system. We pretty much utilize it through all 5 of our departments. Even Fleet utilizes it as well. So it's just been very helpful for all of our departments to be able to keep track of all our work orders and reports, anything that we need for any type of audits or anything of that nature. We can utilize that to benefit us and keep everything in order. But we've been using it probably 5 or 6 years. So they just changed their name to Cartographs and we bought them out. So it's just an annual renewal.
Okay. Annual renewal.
Consent.
Any questions? Oh. Any questions from the audience about this? No. Consent? Yes, Brandon. Yeah, consent. Yes.
Thank you.
That's good.
Anything else? That's all.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman Bill Duvall. Coming down to Public Works / Facilities, Chairwoman Linda Dodd.
Thank you, Mayor. My microphone isn't working, so I have to use this one. Kyle tore it up. Okay, I have several things, but the first one we have is the LWCF. It's in your packet, and I'm going to let Danny talk about this because it has to do with Gaither Park and what we need to do with our SPOS fund.
Thank you, Chairwoman Dodd. So this is a grant through the Department of Natural Resources that came available probably in the last month, I guess. We were looking at using this for Destination Park because it's geared heavily on restroom and building some type of like a soccer field or baseball field. That's what they really want people to apply for. This was called the competitive grant. But we have Gwinnett County SPOS for the restroom at Gwinnett County. So there's no need to apply for this if we already have funds dedicated. And as you know, SPOS, once you dedicate it for something, you can't use it for something else. This grants is similar. Whatever you apply for, you must use or you get the money back. This is a 50% match. So we get 50% from the state, and then we had to put up 50%. So in Walton County SPOS, we put in a little right at 3.9%, which is, we're estimating $226,000 over the next 6 years to collect. So talking with our engineer, the reason it's blank because at the time we didn't know what the restrooms, but we're going off what we're going to spend on the Gwinnett County side, which is close to about $300 for $300,000 for a restroom and infrastructure. Infrastructure at this location is going to be a little bit easier to access because it's right on Tommy Lee Fuller versus running down and trying to find a tie-in point for water and sewer. So my suggestion to the council was we go for the full amount. We get restrooms there. We look at upgrading the park. We're looking at possibly doing ADA compliant playgrounds with the nice foam pads. So if kids or adults are in wheelchairs, they can access it and not have to go through mulch. There's a whole bunch of stuff we're looking at, but those are the few things that we know that we can do. It all is dependent on funding. So it's easier for me to tell the engineer what we have to spend, and then they can design that versus just doing a grand design and saying, well, we only have this. So my thought process was we have $226,000 that has to be used on parks. We use $200,000 for this, so we go for a $400,000 grant. And we use $26,000 for Tyler Park because it has to stay within Walton County. That's the only two parks we have. But you can make it as less. You can make it $175,000. You can make it $300,000. It's really what the council wants. And if you don't want to do Destination Park, then we can do Tyler Park. But the thing is, it's really geared around, building restrooms or some type of field. And Tyler Park does not have the land to put restrooms. And during the working days, the health department's open for restrooms, but at Gaither Park, just like Destination, there are no restrooms. So I think that's why there's no activity at those, because there's nothing there to do at Gaither Park. But, I'll hopefully have more information Wednesday. I'm meeting with the landscape architect Wednesday morning to see what they can do, but we know restroom is number one, which is minimum $100,000 just for the restroom. Plus infrastructure can be done in-house from Brandon and his staff. So, we just have to buy the material. So everything else can be used. My goal would be a nice jungle gym, whatever you call it, with some type of swings that are padded with that foam, like you see at Gwinnett County Parks. But, it's sky's the limit.
When was the last time we updated Gaither Park? We did anything to Gaither Park?
Mayor, I don't know.
Okay.
Last time we did anything there was put a monument there and a tree, I think. But
I planted a tree 2 years
historically,
ago.
it's not had any attention because there's really no funds. Destinations, Gwinnett County, it's SPOSed for that. We're, have almost $2.5 million for that, but we cannot use that on the Walton side. So this is a good grant to apply for, I feel, but it is a 50% match. We have SPOS funds that can be used for it, or you can save the SPOS and we'll use general fund, but it can be budgeted next year, but I prefer to use SPOS versus tax dollars.
Well, I think it's a shame that park is sitting there and it's just not being used. And it's because there's nothing there. If we upgrade it and make it where it's attractive to more people, then it would be used. And, right now it's just kind of just sitting there doing nothing. So, I would like to see this, us do that.
What would y'all like to see?
Danny, when you were talking about the ADA accessibility, are you talking about at Gaither or Tyler Park?
Gaither Park.
And what all do we get for 26,000 at Toddler Park?
That's something we would just have to look at and run some numbers and see. We're looking at doing that foam as well for there too. Right now, it's that rubber mulch.
And I don't know how everyone else feels, but I feel like if we really put some money into making Gaither ADA accessible, there's a real need for that here.
The biggest complaint I get as city manager is there's no restrooms, and we all have kids, and it's, you know, you take a kid to a park, and the first thing you have to do is use the restroom, and then you got to load them up and take them home. It's just very frustrating. So that's why, you know, Toddler Park gets used so much, then Destination, and then Gaither. It's second on the list, third on the list.
I'll be in favor of a restroom in there and to use the funds. Would it be a boys, girls, or just unisex to kind of
I
save
would
on
imagine it would
costs?
be, it would have two sides.
Two sides.
But that's all going to come with, you know, the price. And
that comes with the price.
But the one that has been engineered for Destination was $100,000 for two sides, for a men's and a women's.
So are you? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Austin.
Austin.
Hey, Austin, let me get you a microphone. Yeah, you know me.
Just for the council's edification, y'all were talking about the last time that Gaither Park had gone through any upgrades. It was back in '06 because I was head of the Parks Committee back then. We had a small amount of money that was set aside to redo it. We talked about restrooms. At the time, there was a concern about securing the restrooms, and we didn't have the money for it also. So really all we did was what you see now, and as far as I know, other than a tree and I think a plaque or something, that's all that's been done.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Are you looking for us to give you a price so the grant could?
Yes, we need to have a set price so we know what to. And Austin brought up a great point: is restrooms. We had Porta Johns, and they've got turned over. They got everything you can think of. I don't know why people do that stuff, but some of the things we're incorporating Destination is time locks. So at a certain time, they automatically lock. Of course, you know, you still got to make sure nobody's inside when they lock, but that's some of the things that they could get out. Don't get me wrong. They can get out, but it's just trying to make it secure. Because right now the police goes over there when they have the manpower, but it's getting hard for them running calls.
There's no way, excuse me, Mayor, there's no way to do any bathrooms at Toddler Park in and around that area that we could tie in that could help us with the town green as well?
You would have to take some parking. There's always a way, but you'd have to do with that parking.
Can we talk about that? Because I think we need bathrooms over there as well.
Sure.
Especially for town green.
Yeah, I mean, y'all can say, let's do Toddler Park and not mess with Gaither. That's the reason why I'm here.
Danny, if we add other activities to Gaither Park, what's that going to do to parking over there? Will there be ample parking for that?
I mean, that's something that we will have to look at, but there's, I don't know how many parking there is, probably a dozen or so, but that's something I'll have to go into account. You know, all comes down to you give the engineer set price, this is what you got to do, now go figure it and have to.
How many acres are in Gaither Park?
I'm not, I don't I'll say 2, but I'm
That's
not sure.
okay.
My phone's over there. I can look it up.
About 2.
Let you know.
Okay.
Could be a little less, but yeah.
Okay.
We can, Jay, to your point, we can definitely look at that, putting restrooms, but it's,
It's like this, Danny. How do you make that decision now when you don't? I mean, obviously, we want to stretch the budget dollars and get as much as we can. But if you were to come back and say, "Hey, here's one plan for Gaither Park. Here's another plan for Toddler. Here's another. What do y'all want to do with this money?" But I feel like this is just blind. If you're saying you want 200 of the city money and 200 of the grant and 26 on Toddler, okay. I mean, I don't know how to price out a playground or ADA or.
So you wanted some options?
Yeah.
you want what?
Yeah, some options.
Well,
A, B,
that's
C.
what we're working on, but, you know, it's takes some time for them. That's hopefully Wednesday, but I don't know how soon I can get it from Sam, but, you know, this grant just came available. We started working on it, Destination, and then, you know, it got put brakes on because I said, well, if we get this money, then we can't spend the other SPLOST. And if I use SPLOST money, then I can't use this money, so let's break it up. So we've been working on this. We got this when, Robbie? Yeah, 3 weeks ago. And it's got a deadline date of October 31st.
October 31st. I personally, and I've been around these parts a while, the town green, we need bathrooms. The women really get shafted at the bathrooms because they go into the health department, there's a huge line.
Town Green's going to be a little bit more complex because now you're dealing with the state right away with the sewer.
You have, no, I'm talking about adding it onto the park. So we can kind of piggyback it
What you talking
for
about?
overflow.
Yeah, putting one there.
I really would push for that.
If that's what y'all prefer to go, then, but you're not going to get more restrooms than what's at City Hall. You're talking about maybe 2 for each side for 100,000. And also water and sewer, Brandon, is pretty close to the old City Hall. Down Pecan, isn't it? So, is it Gravity?
So the water and sewer on Tyler Park is the same as in Gaither Park. It's about the same, the water line.
As far as accessibility, yes, as long as you put it over there. How about, would you feel more comfortable if I can get something from Sam this month and have a call to council meeting to talk about it?
Definitely. I mean, I wouldn't, right? Chairwoman?
Yes, that'd be okay.
Yeah, because October 30th is the deadline for the grant.
Yeah, my concern with Tyler Park, it's just so small.
Yeah.
It's not made for children. I mean, if you go to Destination Park, it's constantly used, and it would be used twice as much if we had restrooms because there's so much more to do there. Gaither Park, it has nothing.
But the Tyler Park too is,
I just like Gaither Park because it's got more
most
land
of
to deal
the
with.
children there are in diapers. I mean, most of those children don't even have to go to the bathroom. It would be the parents that would benefit the bathrooms there more so than, I mean,
I'm just thinking about the Town Green.
yeah, but
It would have to be tied to a park, I believe. Robbie, is that correct? It's got to be tied to a park to get this grant.
Okay. So that means take some parking spots, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand.
and
So would y'all
I'd like
prefer
to see that park improved
have
myself.
a called council meeting? So I can
Yes.
get some stuff from Sam.
I mean, I would be in favor of that. Talk to Sam a little more about it, and Chairwoman, we'll have a call council meeting
Okay.
and make this decision.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not in favor of hiring someone to do a bunch of renderings and drawings, but just some ideas, some suggestions. Here's A, B, or C. Which ones do y'all think?
Yeah, that's what we're doing Wednesday. But how much money would you like to dedicate to this? Let me ask you that. Because that's going to dictate what you can get.
See, I don't know because I don't know how much all this costs. I would need something costed out. And what exactly are you talking about? We say improvements in Gaither. How much? I mean,
You need every bit of $400,000 for park improvements. I mean, you're figuring at least half of this is going for just the building and restrooms, not even touching any type of equipment. Playground equipment is extremely expensive. But I can try to get you some answers by Thursday night.
Okay, well, real quick, playground equipment, we're talking basketball courts, baseball field.
So whatever you would like. I mean, it's going to be, I don't know if I, have a football field, but maybe a new playground, like at Destination Park, some new swings, and a restroom. That's my vision for the money.
There's only one gazebo there at Gaither, right?
That's correct.
One. Okay. All right.
Okay, I'll try to have you some more answers.
All right, so we'll move on to the next one. We've got a bid in for the water quality control building roof repair. And I think we are waiting for another bid to come in for Thursday night. So right now I just have the one, and we're waiting on another one to come in on Thursday night. So we'll just wait, and I'll give you that information on Thursday night. The second one's the same thing, the facility.
Yeah, we have
building.
several bids, but there's one more that wanted to bid on it. So we told them if we could get to us by Thursday, we would at least submit it, and then y'all could vote on it then. Lisa and I was talking about the facility building with a 10% contingency. She thought maybe we should go 20% because there is some unknown there. Once they remove the shingles, it may be more decking, rodding than they know, but they won't know that until they remove it. And as you know, once you give me authority to spend something, that's all I can spend without coming back towards council because it's over my limit. So, right now the two lowest bids are what you see. And then the third one has a 10% or 10%, but we can put 20% on both of them if if we don't need to spend it, we won't. But it just gives me a little bit more freedom in case some unknowns happen.
I saw a few bids, one for 62,000. That's way out of the ballpark, and one for 22,000.
Yes, talking with Randall, who handled this, he told him what he wanted, but they decided to do a different route. So that's what they turned in. But he told him what he wanted on the roof. One listened, the other one did not.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a quite difference there.
Yes.
Now, these are local companies, I assume.
Yeah, the one that he went with, Terry Asbetter, we've used him several times in the past. So,
and the other one is Burrell.
I believe Burrell's one of them.
Yeah, he's local.
Yeah.
All right.
Roofing Plus, I believe we've used them. Terry Asbury, Roofing Plus, Burrell Roofing, and RWN Roofing. I'm not sure of them, but they're local.
Yeah.
I think everybody's local.
Okay, so Mayor, that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So would y'all feel comfortable with a 20% not to, contingency, or leave it at 10?
I do, just because, like you said, the unknowns and the cost of lumber, or even the shortage of lumber, we may not be able to finish it or start on it till down the road.
Okay. So we
Yeah.
can add 20% to both, and then hopefully we'll have another bid and see what it comes in, and then you can vote Thursday. That's
All
your
right.
wish.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. All right, coming down to Human Resources Chairman Danny Ford.
Okay, all of y'all got an email in regard to your Ethics Committee nominations. And I'm going to ask you right now if you have those names. Should have them.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
I do.
Bill? I'm sorry. Do you have the name?
For ethics?
Ethics Committee.
Yeah, I gave it to Christie.
Okay.
What's the name?
Tom Fullrath.
Tom who?
Fullrath. Follrath.
Okay, Lisa?
Dr. Michael Muncy.
Jay?
I'll get back to you. Sorry.
Linda? And you have three.
Yes.
You've got one already, Lisa left.
Lisa Gleiler Luttrell, Lynn Arnold.
Lynn Arnold. Wait a minute. Okay.
And Misty Cox. And just to let you know, Lynn Arnold and Misty Cox are currently in it. They've agreed to go for another 2
And
years.
my nomination is Ray Beard, and he's currently in there, and he's agreed to go again too.
Exactly. So, and Lisa Luttrell will be replacing Brian Lincoln.
Right. Christie, if you would, when you have all those names, would you please send me an email with those? Jay, can you let Christie
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I'll let her know tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Do y'all want them
That's
here
all I have.
Thursday?
Do what?
Are they going? Would you like them here Thursday?
Do we need to swear them in?
No, there's no swearing in.
There's no swearing in, but if you remember last time, there was only one that showed up because the rest of us didn't know that we were supposed to have our nominees here. So do we need to have them here?
I don't know that it's necessary to have them here.
I mean, Lynn Arnold is coming.
We've only used the ethics board twice, and in the past, it's been for personnel hearings, and they were all sworn in prior to that.
Right.
They had to be told the legalities of what they needed to do, so they were sworn in at that time.
If they want to come, great, but it's not mandatory. Because there's no swearing in or anything.
No.
Right?
Christie just need their full contact, email, and phone number.
That way, if something was to come up, we kind of
So just for our audience, it's 9 members, serve a 2-year term. Each council member gets 1 pick, the mayor gets 3, and they pull from 5, and then I believe 3 actually hear the appeal. And like Christy said, we've used it actually 3 times, but twice was for the same person for personnel issues. anything that's considered adverse action, they can go before that board and change city
Yep.
manager's decision.
If a situation comes up, the 5 that are chosen, didn't you say 5?
Yeah, and the reason there's 9 because if it's say ethics against X person and he knows that person could not serve.
It's kind of like a jury trial, I guess. The people that we choose would be sitting up here and making that decision. So,
And Chairman, just to, it's due every October.
yes,
I mean, every 2 Octobers. That's why we're doing it now, correct?
exactly.
All right,
We're good. That's all I
Good,
have.
thank you. City Manager's Report, Danny Roberts.
Mayor, this is updates. We're still planning on having the tree lighting unless you all tell us different, and we're still going to plan on having a Christmas parade. There is a little hiccup with that is, of course, the school, Bay Creek, they're doing a renovation, so we're working with them to see if we can still use that. But if not, we'll look at having the lineup start here around the track, but we prefer to do it where we've done it. But unless I don't know. Is there a set date yet? Yeah. December 5th.
Santa Claus is coming for the tree lighting this year, or Raleigh? Don't know. Still working it out.
And I believe as of today, Chrissy said they had over 100 vendors for Autumn Fest. Wow. Is that still correct, Robbie? Craft vendors.
That's great. Great balance.
T-Splosh, Mary, you want to talk about it or you want me to talk about it?
Talk about it.
So early voting starts when?
October 12th.
October 12th. So T-Splosh is on the referendum. As you know, we cannot tell you how to vote. All we can do is talk about it. T-Splosh is another cent sales tax. If approved, it will produce another $60 million over 5 years, which will be used
For the county.
for the county, for Walton County, and all the cities will get a share of it like we do current SPLOST. It's based on population. Loganville's looked to set the same amount, 5 to 6 million, depending on collections. It has to be used solely on transportation projects. 30% of that money has to be used on own system projects, which is considered state roads, your highways that are all in the city of Loganville. We currently have 2 big projects we're working with the state. One's set at $3 million. The other one has not been engineered yet. And that is the Rock Road, Lee Bird Road realignment. That's a big project. We're looking at Publix red light. But we're waiting. Bill and I met last week, and he and I agreed that we're going to wait on, of course, I've talked to y'all about it as well, wait on the ARC grant because it's going to do a citywide study. It's going to tell us where we should be spending our money. So we're not just going out there and hoping this will fix a traffic problem. And once we get that study, it'll tell us what we need to do, what we should be doing, and then we can give you better information to use to make that decision where the money should be spent. But the current SPLOST has $3.2 million in it, which we already used probably $400,000 of that on different projects. So this is how big projects get done with SPLOST projects. Without it, we just wouldn't do it because you don't have the funds to produce that kind of money in the city. So
Just
remember to vote when you vote and vote how you feel.
There's other counties that are also doing it. From what I understand, Oglethorpe is doing it. Some other counties around the area are also doing it.
I believe Barrow's doing
Barrow's
it. I
doing
believe
Jasper.
Hall County's doing it. Not sure about Gwinnett, but we tried this back in
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago, but we were part of the regional, and it got denied because a lot of people felt the money would go to the major metro city or counties like Gwinnett, DeKalb, but this time it was strictly be for Walton County and the cities within Walton County. So I believe the chamber is going to do a slide talking about what it can do, but as your city and government, we cannot tell you how to vote or push it, I guess you'd say. But I'm just telling you, just remember it when you vote.
And early voting October 12th will be at Meridian Park. Anything else?
That is all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And it seems we got a full page for our city attorney.
Yes, I apologize in
Yes,
advance.
ma'am.
but yes.
Right away.
Good evening. First of all, you'll see that we have some amendments. It's listed as a charter amendment, the first one. It's actually an amendment to the ordinances. This is section 2-127. It says an ordinance from 1994. Okay, sorry. This is an ordinance from 1994. It requires the city manager to post a $50,000 bond and the city to pay the cost of the bond. It has not been used in the time that I've been here, and that is partly because it's rendered obsolete by the insurance policies that the city has in place. You have a directors and officers policy, and you also have what's called an EPL, an employment practices line policy. Both of those policies cover what the bond requirement is intended to cover. So it's superfluous, and it hasn't been used in a very long time. So the amendment is simply to say that the city manager is required to take an oath of office and just omits the bond portion of that. Okay. Are there any questions?
No? Any questions from the audience about what? Is this consent? Consent, Linda? Huh? Bill? Sure. All right. Consent agenda. Yes, ma'am.
The next item is an amendment to section 119-59 of the ordinance. This has to do with the Planning Commission. And it is not part of the zoning ordinance, so it does not have to go through the commission. But all it does, if you look at the way the ordinance is written right now, when the council appoints new Planning Commission members, it says that will happen in January and you will swear them in at the February council meeting. But that doesn't really work when you want the Planning Commission members to go ahead and get started and start their work on the Planning Commission. So all it does is take that requirement out of it. It just says that they will be appointed in January, that they will be sworn in by the mayor. It doesn't say where, when, because I know Mayor Martinez does like to go to the meetings on occasion and swear them in. And so we wanted to make it a little bit easier to accommodate that, to get your commission up and running as soon as possible, the new commission members. It also provides that if a term expires, one of the commission members is on the commission, but you all do not replace an appointment right when the term expires, that person will continue to serve until you appoint someone. Does that make sense? So you're not left with a vacancy.
But if that person has an emergency and has to leave immediately.
Well, of course, then
right.
they would be excused.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. It says something about the chairperson has to be picked by the members every 2 years?
Yes.
Is that the way it's always been, Janice?
That's the way it is in the ordinance, that the planning commission members are to elect a chairperson, and the chairperson must be elected every 2 years by the members.
Okay. Have you guys have done that?
Yes,
Pick,
they have.
You have. They have.
Majority picks them.
Okay. No, but I'm talking about has the members chosen you every 2 years?
That's the way it worked when I was on.
That's the way it's been? Okay. I didn't know. Members vote. Okay. All right.
Robin, Tim says he feels this is in the zoning ordinance, so it had to go before them or not?
This is in the general, Tim may have been giving me a pop quiz now. Yes, it is, Tim.
Everything in 119 is
You're right.
the zoning ordinance.
You win that one. So I guess what we'll do is if you all approve that amendment tonight, then we'll send it to Janice.
So what's significant about January? Why is it not like April or October?
Just because that's the way it's in the ordinance, is that's when their terms expire at the end of December, and then you appoint someone to fill that term. or that
Typically, when they
position.
were created is when they do it. Like the LDA was done in this month.
So I was just
Ethics.
thinking, like I came in January, and if there had been a vacancy at that point, to nominate somebody, it would be nice if it's say April, and that way, if there's somebody new coming in January and there was doing, I don't know.
You certainly could do that. If you look at the way it's written right now, it's very convoluted because they were trying to capture staggered terms, and it's, but it's from 2008, 2009, I believe, that they put that into place. Now that the terms are regulated and we know when people are coming in and off, you could certainly do that.
We've had some, I want to say this about the planning commission. We've had some really good people working on this. It's not a big paid job, it's something that you volunteer for. $25 to go out and look at all the stuff. We spend a lot of time on it, and we have some really good people that work on it. And sometimes we forget about the people that really work hard for the city. And I want to tell you that Melissa, we're talking about planning and zoning, Melissa has surgery, she has cancer, that's great. She was in the hospital, had sent her home, and she stopped up, and I said, well, you're back in England. She is home now, doing really well. These are people that are here years of time in the city, and I think sometimes we need to let people know that we are going to care for them because they love what they're doing. Bruce Granoff, he's 12 years. I think he's more than I know. He's been 12 years. He had prostate surgery. And then his knee collapsed. So he had to go down and the knee off his arm. And if you got time, I think all you can do is just sometimes say, we appreciate you. And I'm trying to, it's hard to do people and have other people and try to love them. And they're like, another name. We have so many people now. I don't actually want to find you, but the other thing is, we really love them.
Got one right behind you, by the way.
Yes, ma'am, and we do care about Ms. Arnold. And the last two meetings, I did bring that up and let everyone know, and we appreciate her. And I hated to see her have to step down.
All right, Robin, is this consent? Is this something that we're
You,
just waiting?
not really. If you approve it, then we'll send it back to the planning commission. So you can just give me your okay at this meeting.
Now, were you asking Bill to change it to a different month?
I was throwing it out there to see if that
He's got a good point.
made any sense. I mean, for me coming in, it would have, would like to have had a little bit more time. But
So he's got a good point, you say?
Mm-hmm. So the next one will be up.
got a point.
What's the point?
His point is, if we would have had to nominate new ones in January when he was sworn in, he's new to the game, and he would appreciate having some time to get his feet wet to.
Okay. Sure. That's what you all want.
So the next one will be, this is 2021, so it'll be 2023.
2022. When their term's up.
That's right, you're right, 2022.
So October of 2021, we would be coming before y'all saying, hey, we need y'all to start thinking about January of 2022. Their term will expire.
Yeah.
Did we do that during old business usually?
Well, typically we've not had.
Usually, the one time we did it in February because of this very reason. That's when they used to do professional staff, was February, because it gave the new people time to come in and get a little bit acclimated. But I mean, February is probably maybe a little too soon too. If we do this, we will have to extend the terms of the people that are currently on the commission through whatever date, whatever month you pick, and I can throw that into this, but just know, I mean, it'll only be a few months, depending on what month you choose.
I think April's good. April?
I'll go with April.
I don't care. April? April? All right. April it is. There you go. All right.
Just when I got to memorize January.
I will make that change and circulate a new draft, but if you all are in favor of it, we'll just send it down to Janice
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
for handling.
That means you got to stay now 4 more months, Janice.
The last thing I.
That's what she does for me.
The last thing on my list is the amendment to the alcohol ordinance as it's listed because of House Bill 879, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. That bill gives the city, you all do authorize, what?
We got 2 more things to talk about before you get to alcohol. You got the meeting time change,
Oh, geez.
and then you got the standing committees.
Feel like I'm just trying to skip over that. The time change is an easy one.
Yeah.
It is section 2-20. As it is written now, it says that that you all meet at 7:30. We're just changing it to 6:30.
Simple. And the committees the same way. Charter says we got standing committees. It's got parks and green space. We just replace them with what we have now,
Yes.
which is in your packet.
Yes.
But Robin will have to draft it in the ordinance form. I didn't do that.
Okay. Just some basic housekeeping.
Housekeeping stuff. Good catch.
Mhm.
Any consent or just give
Yes.
you the approval? All right.
That is consent if you all are okay with that.
Consent?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Consent.
Okay. Can I move on, Dan? Okay. Back to the
One more.
alcohol. You all do allow Sunday sales, but you may recall that we moved the time when you could start selling on Sunday to 12:30 p.m. This new legislation gives the city the option, should it desire to do so, to start selling on Sunday at 11 a.m. You would have to put that out for a referendum from the voters to do that.
Yeah, it's called a brunch bill, from what I understand.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
I have spoken to basically the 2 businesses that has been affected, and they said they're fine with what they got right now, and that's
Oh.
the 2 package stores.
Well, the package stores would not
right.
be, well, they might be affected, but this is more like, it's also Publix,
For Publix,
Kroger, any package stores, any restaurant you go into on a Sunday, you cannot order until 12:30 right now.
Exactly.
It's just a matter if you'd like to move it up until 11.
I haven't gotten any manager, any owner for any businesses coming to me asking for that. So,
I
I'll
don't
be
see
in
the
favor of
need.
leaving it the same. Leaving it, as it is.
It'd be in the spring. My recommendation, if you're going to do it, let's do it with a general election. Let's don't do a special election.
No. We're not in a hurry about it.
What I was asking, Chrissy, is the timing for a referendum is very tight. It's dictated by the state, it's at certain times. There are a lot of I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed. So this is not something you have to decide this evening by any means, because you can't do it this year anyway. But it's just something to keep in mind should you hear from businesses and decide that this is something you want to pursue. I think that the next earliest would be in the spring, right? I would have to check the calendar because it's
Should be
depends on
March.
it. There's certain times you can do questions and there's certain times you can do vacancies. Gotcha. And so it would just depend. It would maybe March. That's what I was thinking. March or June would be.
March, June, and then there's another one in
That's what I
November
was
sometime. There's 3 times.
Yeah.
Special.
So you've got some time. Just know that if you decide to do it, we will need some advance notice because again, it's very technical how you do offer a question like that up to the citizens. So just keep it in mind. To do a referendum? If that's all we did, well, yeah.
37
Not to
votes.
mention it takes staff out of their job roles for over a month. So that's why unless it's a dire need, it's just much more cost effective for us and the citizens to have it with a general election. The general election is going to bring your public out anyway. A special may or may not.
So the general election, as in next November, when members of this council and mayor are up, we would do it then.
And, you know, they're not, you know, like I told Robin, there's no businesses out there, no Applebee's or nobody that's even asking for it.
Yeah.
So
And I
why-
can guarantee you
why-
they know about it.
They
I think
know
it's a
they
non-
know about it.
It's a
I mean,
non-point.
it's-
I don't know about
What's
that
that?
point. I like it. I think he should do it.
Oh well. Anyway,
I know when McCrae's did it in Lawrenceville, like, their business went crazy.
oh no, there's no doubt that
We'll
the
do some
business is
research.
great.
We'll do some research.
We still got
Yeah, good
a
plan.
whole year for this thing.
So there are a couple of other things. That's the first thing. The other thing in House Bill 879 is home delivery. You may have heard about this, that Governor Kemp passed this part of the legislation to allow some of the businesses that have been hurt by COVID to start delivering alcohol to residents. A city can opt out of this by prohibiting home delivery within your ordinance. So that is an option for the city if you decide to do so.
So right now, as it stands right now, businesses can deliver. You're saying the city can opt out.
Technically, yes, but keep in mind, it's also all subject to setting up the state licensing. I don't know if you've gotten that far into the legislation. The state is going to set up this statewide licensing. So it'll be very interesting to see how this works. And until that happens, we're, you know, kind of in a trial and error phase. The legislation did go into effect on August 3rd, but it's not really up and running yet, if that makes sense. If you decide to do that, and there are some, well, let me just get back to the third thing is tastings. This new legislation allows certain establishments to do wine and beer tasting with a lot of technical requirements. That is something that is allowed at the state level. The city can't prohibit that. You can, though, you do have the option to create different licenses for people to have tastings. And to jump back to the home delivery, restaurants may be allowed to deliver to residences if you start creating different licenses for the restaurants. For instance, a restaurant right now is not considered as a package sales establishment. So they could not sell, for instance, if they pour me a glass of wine, they can't sell the remainder of that bottle to someone else that they're going to go deliver it to their house. You all would have to create an additional license classification that would allow that restaurant to sell alcohol that had not been opened. Does that make sense?
Is it coming about because of the emergency orders, the governor, the COVID emergency orders? Is that the way it started?
Actually, believe it or not, this is, the Atlanta mayor did this during quarantine
Quarantine, exactly.
because she wanted to help out the businesses that were hurting.
That's right.
I guess Governor Kemp liked that idea and so has now passed it into legislation.
So Robin, would each business have to apply for that? Each individual restaurant would have to apply for it?
If you decide to create that kind of license.
Okay.
And again, the state is setting up a central license application. They're all also going to eventually start taking the fees that, you know, retail package stores and other licensees would pay to the city. They're all going to pay it to the state, and then the state's going to remit it to the city. My recommendation, for what it's worth, I think that we should maybe have some more discussion about this. See what comes out of the other cities. GMA has sent a model ordinance out that we can look at and tweak and perhaps discuss, because I do think that there are a lot of moving parts with it. That's just my
The restaurants are still following the governor's emergency order, which is part of that, correct? The delivery of alcohol, or no?
I don't believe so, but I could be.
Didn't he just renewed it again about 2 weeks ago?
I'm
His
not aware
orders?
of that. But you may be better informed about that
Robin?
than I am.
He did renew them? Okay. So as we stand right now,
They're doing it anyway.
they're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So in your example, if you go to a restaurant and you order a bottle of wine, have one glass, do they cork it and let you take the bottle home?
No.
So there's no open containers moving? Yeah. Okay.
Not as contemplated by the legislation.
Okay.
Because they would have to have a completely separate operation that only
Right.
sold unopened alcohol.
She got a question.
And not just sell it, like they're not going to sell it out of the back door.
Mhm.
You know, they have to deliver it to a residence,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And one last, does that include Publix and Ingles
Yes.
to deliver alcohol?
Yes.
Okay.
If they choose to do so.
If we allow them to and they choose to. Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am.
This is not about the alcohol or nothing, but I feel like sometime that Main Street's turning into Auburn Avenue.
Okay.
You ever thought about it?
Auburn. Where's Auburn? Auburn Avenue. Where's that at?
You
Auburn.
don't know where Auburn Avenue is downtown?
Oh, Auburn.
We'll go down there sometime and see Auburn Avenue where they sell on the street food and all that, and that's what we're turning into on Saturdays. And these little churches, does Loganville need the money to pay the rent and letting these little bitty churches come in there? I mean, it just concerns me. There we have beautiful Methodist church, we have the beautiful Baptist church.
Yeah.
And it just concerns me about, on Saturday, it looks like Auburn Avenue.
You're talking about from the churches on Saturday?
Selling food. You talk about churches? She's saying that our Loganville, correct me if I'm wrong, ma'am, that our Loganville on Saturday looks like Auburn Avenue in Atlanta.
Well, like out there, like churches selling food on the street, cooking food. That's what Auburn Avenue does, downtown Atlanta. The mayor, she allows it. Are
Now-
we going to still allow it?
Well, no, I'm just, Danny or Tim Prather, is there any restrictions about a private business or a church selling food to raise money? Any a fundraiser for the church? Or is that what you're talking about, man?
They're considered nonprofit, and they would have to go through the county health department. But we don't have any restrictions on it. As far as churches being on Main Street, the Freedom of Religion Act prevents us from doing anything against churches. There's one church on Main Street that sets up their grill on Saturday and sells some food, and they would have to get a permit through the health department to do that. I don't know if they do or not, because we don't permit them.
Somebody needs to check into it. I mean, you know.
Now, it says, correct me if I'm wrong, because there's some churches that have a barbecue once in a while. Oh, it's every Saturday.
This is everywhere.
Where-
I'm not being ugly.
Oh, it's right, okay.
I'm not being ugly. I'm just telling you what, the more you do that, Loganville's going to go down the hill. Instead of coming up, we're going down the hill. Now, I don't know about y'all. That's the way I feel sometimes.
Yeah, I don't believe you can, the health department oversees nonprofits. I know several nonprofits that cook food and don't have to get permits. It's a nonprofit organization, so.
It's a nonprofit.
But I'll check with the health department to find out.
Thank you.
It's just like the Methodist church selling spaghetti.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't shut them down nor.
Exactly, that's what I was talking about. It's just like right, and you're using it for a good cause. Yeah.
Those people came over and visited us at that church, which was all put up.
Okay.
And they invited us, and we went over there, and on the street corner, and
Now, that's been a year. Everybody can hear my, boy, I talk loud because I can't hear y'all half the time when you're talking.
Okay.
But anyway. You want me to turn you on my knee? Okay. Last year, when we did Trick or Treat Main Street, these people came over and visited with us. I can't remember, it's been a year ago, and I don't remember what religion they were or anything, but they were cooking back there. And we went over and looked at just looked at the food. We didn't eat because we had already eaten before we came to help with the Lions Club thing. But the people were extremely nice, and I've got pictures of them and their food on my iPhone. They were really, really nice, and they have church over there. I don't know what religion they are, because I'm Baptist, been Baptist forever. But anyway, the food looked wonderful, and they were selling plates. But this was when we did, when we do Trick or Treat Main Street. But I didn't see anything wrong with what they were doing, but I do think that anybody that sells food needs to have a permit.
And I'll finish with this. Comparing, in my opinion, a church that's selling food to Auburn Avenue is not a very good comparison. I haven't seen it, but I could tell you maybe that church is raising funds for homeless people. We don't know their thing, but you guys do it all the time. They do it every week. I haven't seen it. But
well, somebody needs to go down there and check on it, but I know.
That's a nonprofit. That's a nonprofit. Okay. All right. Anything else, Miss Robin? We got.
No, I think I've done enough damage for this evening.
Good.
I would like to add to that the tasting. One of the liquor stores has inquired about wanting to do that, having the tastings, and it does provide guidelines in the ordinance of how much they can do and at what times they can do it.
Is that something we got to put on the consent or vote on it?
No, again, my suggestion would be we take a month or two.
Okay. All right.
Possibly send it to a committee at some point for,
Good.
Further study and discussion. Just wanted to put it on your radar that it's out there.
Thank you. Anything else?
You're welcome. The only other thing I have is executive session.
All right. With that being said, I'm going to make a motion to close our meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right. The meeting has been adjourned. And then we are going to I'll make a motion to go into executive session to talk about real estate matters. Is that correct?
And attorney-client privilege matters, but we
All right.
won't.